Hey guys, Joshua Peterson here with Peterson Electric. Wanted to go over today with you with an E-Volt car. This is a new car that's come out by Chrysler. It's a minivan. It's actually a hybrid, gas and electric. He said that today he just ran it to 0 on electric, and you can see the bar in the window. It's finally gone up 2 bars here. What we wired up here for him was a juice box, 40 amp, 240 volt rated, 10 kilowatt box, and that's going to give it a supercharge. It's based on 60 miles for 1 minute is going to be a mile, so 60 minutes for 60 miles. Basically, in a nutshell, this is going to plug in. This is no different than a range plug, 240 volt rated NEMA 50R. Basically, right here we pre-wired here and a 6 gauge for future 50 amp, and this is going to be here also, this 50 amp as well. So we gave 2 sets in there, 8 gauge and 6 gauge, 4 wire. Only pulled 1 ground, of course, because that's all you need to. Right here, if just so you know, there's no way you're going to get 3 number 6s and a 10 in this. You'd have to go to 1 1/4 inches. So this is a 1 inch EMT. I did put an adapting flex there. I did flex it all the way through the garage. Thank God for you guys with self-wired. I appreciate that fish tape that's green. Made it very feasible. This I installed last year. It's a 10 kW system as well with 8 gauge wire. Basically it says 40 amps. It's drawn really 30 amps on it because I put my meter on it. And this guy right here is competing with the system. The video is going to be just a hair long, so bear with me. He called me up and said, next year I want my tax deduction with another e-car and this one. So if they go with a Tesla at 50 amp or something that demands more than the Leaf at 30 amp, he wanted to know, first of all, can I wire them both from here? Second of all, can my system handle it? This is a main lug panel, square DQO, okay? This panel itself has 2 main lugs, the main breakers outside. It is rated at 150 amps. The bus bar on here is rated at 150. The breaker space definitely shows you 150 because it's only up to 30 amp. I can get a 200 amp bus bar right now rated for a 4260. So if that goes to show you, the panels have expanded in their size of cabinets. It's an indoor rated panel. Basically, I flexed through. I did pull through box junction, NEMA R3 rated outside. And I did pull exactly straight through with that fish tape. Love that green fiberglass threaded south wire tape. Came all the way down. You guys that watch the videos, you're probably going to give me a hard time about this LB. I was able to definitely get this cover on and off with the ratchets. Don't worry about that on the video and text me on that or email me. Bottom line, we brought that into here. So I want to show you that some panels don't have this ability. This guy does. This is called an all-in-one. Meter, main, breakers, feed through lug. It's got 4 things in one. It's R3 rated because the lip right here, it's designed to be outside. This right here we chose to come and pull. You saw how close that box was to the panel. The problem is this is a feed through lug with 2-aught wire, URD aluminum. I did not want to put more pressure on this system that I already had from the house, so I wanted to split it like a Y, if you will. I wanted this bus bar to actually go to this breaker and this right here feed through as well. Now, it still adds up to the same that the house, we just did a test on it. Okay, he has a furnace, he has a 1500 watt space heater, he has electric washer, dryer, he has an electric range but a gas cooktop on top of it. It's a freestanding. And he also has a forced air furnace. So there's no electric base heat, there's no welding, there's no kiln, there's no base cove heaters. We also don't have a hot tub, and he's not doing weed, though it's legal in Colorado. So none of that's happening on the system. But as you can see, with a lot of that stuff running, I was cycling 70, and I finally got up to 90 amps. Okay. When the microwave and the dishwasher kicked on, it really threw off the neutral. And this leg went to 90 and this went to 70. So when they turned off, it went to 56 and 43. So you have to understand that at the highest point that was heating, that was at 90 amps, plus this 30 is 120 on a 150. 80% value of that can be right around 125 to 130, okay? Now, keep in mind, you can go up to 100% on that breaker, but you don't want to wear it out. It is rated at 22,000 AIC fault current, which means that the connections are very close to this house, and they wanted that design that way from the get-go on the subdivision. So substation's close by. If you see a 42 or 50K, you definitely know your substation's very close. So right here, I'm at 37 amps. Not bad, okay? But you got to keep this in mind, that this right here, oh, it finally turned off on me. Look at that. We are getting charged. I had this running at 30 amps consistent pressure on this right here, on this breaker, this 2-pole 40 for the E-Volt car. This has a neutral, so it's a 4-wire neutral, 2 hots and a ground. And this one right here had the most balance of a neutral in a house with 2 poles I've ever seen. A dryer will have one leg typically higher than the other because of the heating element and the motor, about 9 amps more. And a range will be fairly balanced, but you still have the time clock up above. And then the burners can fluctuate a little bit. So ranges are balanced fairly well too. But an E-Volt car takes constant pressure to charge, and evidently we may be powered already, because this has been on for a half hour and I have it already showing that it's off and my breaker is on. But keep in mind, if this is drawn 30 and this is drawn 90, you have to add that together. Now, he could later take this 6 gauge that I capped off in here, and we could run it over to here or here, and then definitely wire up a 50 amp there. You do have to be attentive to be careful with the fact that you're running your range and your dryer, so you may have to segregate your life a little bit on how you do your loads, which means do your dryer and washer in the evening when you're going to bed, cycle that, do your dishwasher after dinner, and usually when you charge your car, you're going to need that ready for work in the morning too. So everything's going to happen after 5 o'clock when most of you guys get home. This is a thermal gun. Excuse me, a visual thermal meter, so it sees through thermally. And I want to show you, as this warms up here, that outside temperature tonight, pretty cold. It's about 22. So basically, well, it's warmed up a little bit maybe. Let it catch up in temperature. I had it down to 25. Anyways, we're about just below freezing now, so it did warm up a little bit. I want to show you right here that this has been running for 45 minutes now. The hottest point I got on the center of that breaker is 45 degrees. That's really good. Here's my second leg, 45 degrees. Here's my lug. Let me see if I can catch her to that. 40 degrees. Here's my wire, 38. Here's A phase, 36, 37. Okay, here's my breaker, 45. So when we do tests and we see these main breakers fail, we use this. If we're getting up to 180 degrees, we are at failure with it tripping. If we get above that at 220 to 300, we're melting plastic quick. And the thermal jacket on around the insulation. So I want to show you here. Oh, that's why it's not running. He just took off. So I want to show you this right here, that when this was going, the cord was actually showing the same temperature around the cord as outside at 47 degrees when it was warming, or actually charging the car. And now we're down to 42 in the garage. You keep in mind, this is a space heater we wired. It runs exactly the same amount of amperage as this E-Volt car. So he needs to be attentive that when he's in the morning working out, we get this running to warm up, we keep the car off, and that'll help balance the system. Personally, I think we're going to see more of this happening in the future. There's a lot of areas in Loveland and Fort Collins in northern Colorado that I'm aware of, even up in Longmont, that some of the houses are only rated underground for 100 amp. They have an 1.25 GRC or 1.5 GRC underneath the driveway. There's no way to repull that to your house. So if you're going to buy an E-Volt car and you're going to buy 2 of them just because you're getting a tax break, you better make sure that you actually can support that load. Because 2 E-Volt cars on a house like this that's 3,200 square foot with a lot of appliances is going to cause that offset there on your pressure in your panel. And when you come home, you're both going to charge your car. Maybe you have different schedules. Next thing you know, someone's jumping on a treadmill in the garage like this, heating up the garage. And then you got the washer dryer running, dishwasher, and you're cooking food. That is going to put a lot of pressure on your system. There is a load calculation I have in other videos that can show you this. But again, guys, I want you to keep in mind that when you're going to buy your cars, you better research this first. A hot tub load, people ask me all the time, will that work? Understand that a hot tub has a circulation pump, and when you're not in it and that heater's satisfied, as long as your cover is staying sealed, you're not going to be having that heater kick on a whole bunch. If the cover's not sealed, it's kind of like having this heater running and keeping the door open. Thermostat is never satisfied. You've got to have a good seal on that hot tub. The point I'm trying to make is that if you have a good seal even on your house, your thermostat on your furnace is going to turn down. And if you have all electric base heat, there's probably no way that you're going to be able to handle an E-Volt car at 100 amp on a home. It's not going to work. Because the dead of the winter, there's not an offset for the AC versus the heater. Now, this will offset their heater, but their AC unit, but that's a 4-ton unit. So that's going to run about 40 amps as well. This is running 30. So it does offset in the summer. But the AC, when they kick on, that's not just a constant trickle of 29 amps until the thermostat hits it. The AC units can take up to 300% just to kick on. I had one the other day. It was a 2.5 ton. It's a 25 amp breaker. It was needing typically 25 to, probably about 30 amps to start, maybe 40. It was running 128 amps, and that little condo only had a 100 amp panel. And it was an old Zinsko breaker. It just blew out the guts of the breaker real quick. And 128 amps, that thing was lock rotor again and again and again. And we called up our HVAC guy that we like. He went out there, called me back and said, hey Josh, bottom line, we even put a start inrush, I forget what he called it. It was a start inrush capacitor on it just to test it. And he said we got the same thing lock rotor. So they needed a whole new AC unit. But so the point is in the summer, if that thing is nearly drawing 120 amps just to kickstart, and he's got a 150 amp panel, and he's charging a car, and then he got another car, and then he has a dryer going, or the dishwasher, that's going to blow it. Anyways, guys, sorry the video was a little long. I did pre-warn you on this. Hopefully this will help you out. Some of you guys really watch this, and we really appreciate you watching our channel. Some of the other guys that don't like it, just turn this off. Bottom line is that this is a great video to show you guys on application of what size conduit, what size wire, how many wires, how many cars, and definitely how much opacity the house is having with a thermal gun on it, a thermal visual gun. I haven't ate yet, but hopefully I help you out, guys. Have a good day.